The control room was quiet. Too quiet. Alex sat alone, staring at the blinking lights of the spaceship's console. The hum of the engines was the only sound. Outside, the dark sky of the alien planet stretched endlessly, dotted with distant stars. He had come here for research, for exploration, but tonight, something felt wrong. Suddenly, a loud thud shook the ship. Alarm screamed. Alex jumped from his seat, heart pounding. Something had crashed on a landing pad. He rushed to the observation window, his eyes scanning the dark landscape. There, half buried in the dirt, was a massive figure. At first, he thought it was a statue, but then he realized it was alive. The figure stirred. Massive hands, green skin, and sharp features slowly came into view. Alex froze. The being was enormous, far taller than any human. Her armor was cracked and scorched. And then, she fell. Right into his lap. Alex stumbled backward, nearly hitting the floor. What is happening?" he whispered. The ORC queen was awake, in his lap. Her golden eyes blinked slowly, watching him with curiosity. Her presence was terrifying, yet strangely commanding. Alex had seen battles, space pirates, and rogue planets, but nothing like this. The queen's deep voice rumbled, almost like thunder, but Alex couldn't understand the words. He only understood the tone: warning, confusion, power. She looked around, scanning the control room, her expression sharp and alert. Then, her gaze returned to him. Alex felt a chill. He tried to stand, but she pushed lightly against him with her massive hand. Not in anger, but warning. He froze. The queen's lips moved again, speaking in a language older than any human could know. He didn't move. He didn't dare. Suddenly, the ship shuddered again. The alarm screamed louder this time. Alex grabbed a flashlight, moving toward the door. He needed to see what had hit the landing pad. But as soon as he turned, he noticed something impossible. The ORC queen was following him, silently, her footsteps heavier than the ship's floor could hold, yet she made no sound. Alex's mind raced. This is insane. How'd you get here? Why me? His hands trembled. The queen stopped near the doorway, tilting her head, observing him. There was a pause, a silence thick with tension. Then, the ship's communication console beeped. A transmission from somewhere far away. A warning: do not trust her. She is not alone. They are coming. Alex froze. He didn't know who they were, or why he was the one being warned. The queen stepped closer, almost brushing his arm. Her eyes narrowed. She seemed waiting for him to act. Suddenly, the ship's lights flickered. A shadow passed across the observation window. Something large, something fast. The queen's eyes followed the shadow. She growled softly. The sound vibrated through Alex's chest. He took a step back. The ship's emergency doors hissed open. Cold air rushed in, carrying the smell of smoke and metal. Alex realized with horror that something, or someone, was outside, waiting. The ORC queen crouched slightly, as if preparing to strike. Her hand rested on the hilt of a weapon Alex didn't even see before. "Stay back," Alex whispered. But he knew it was useless. He had no weapon, no plan, only the queen, whose massive form now blocked the doorway between him and the unknown threat outside. Then she moved. In a blur of strength and speed, she leapt toward the door, smashing it open. The air outside howled in, revealing the silhouette of a monstrous ship descending. Aliens, he couldn't see their faces, moved fast, armed, and deadly. Alex's heart stopped. The ORC queen turned her head toward him, golden eyes glowing in the dim light. She spoke again in her ancient language, words like thunder, but Alex felt the meaning without understanding. "Trust me, or die." Before he could respond, a blast of energy hit the wall behind him. Sparks flew. The ship shook violently. The queen roared, a sound so powerful it seemed to push the aliens back. Alex stumbled, holding onto the console for support. And then, just as suddenly as it began, silence returned. The aliens vanished, or retreated. The ORC queen stood tall, looking down at him. Her chest heaved, her eyes still glowing. Alex realized something terrifying. There was no going back now. Whatever had just happened had changed everything. He swallowed hard, his voice shaking. "What are you?" The queen stepped closer, her gaze piercing. Alex felt small, human, and fragile. But somewhere in that look, he also saw something else. A hint of respect, a challenge, a warning. And deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. The ORC queen sat back slowly, her massive frame filling the small room. Alex knew one thing for certain. Tonight, his life, his world, and everything he knew would never be the same again. The night outside the spaceship was dark and silent, but Alex could feel the tension pressing down like a heavy weight. The ORC queen still loomed over him, her massive frame barely contained in the control room. Her golden eyes never left his face, studying him with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. Alex swallowed hard. He knew he had no choice. The warning from the mysterious transmission echoed in his mind. Do not trust her. They are coming. Yet, staring at the ORC queen, Alex realized something else. He could not survive the night alone. Not with whatever threat lurked outside. Okay, he whispered. We need a plan. The queen's eyes narrowed. She did not speak in human language, yet Alex somehow felt the meaning in her stare. You speak quickly, but do you understand danger? Before he could answer, the ship shook violently. The walls rattled as if an enormous hand had slammed against them. Outside, through the observation window, Alex saw movement, figures darting in the darkness. Shadows larger than any human, moving fast with glowing eyes. The aliens had returned. Alex's mind raced. There were too many of them. Too strong. Too fast. He turned to the queen. We need to work together. I don't know your ways, but I know the ship. We can use that. The queen tilted her head, and then, in a motion quicker than Alex could track, she pulled a strange device from her armor. It hummed with energy, strange symbols glowing across its surface. She pointed it at the approaching aliens. A bright pulse shot out, throwing the attackers backward like ragdolls. Alex's jaw dropped. You can fight them. The queen's lips curled into the smallest hint of a smile. Then, without warning, she turned and gestured for Alex to follow. They moved down the narrow corridors, past blinking consoles and emergency lights. Alex could hear the aliens breaking through the outer doors, their growls deep and terrible. This way, the queen commanded, not in words but in tone and gesture. They reached the ship's engineering room. Alex grabbed a control panel. He knew if he could reroute the ship's defense systems, they could make a trap. He explained his plan quickly, pointing to the air vents, the laser turrets, the emergency barriers. The ORC queen listened, nodding slightly, her massive hands resting on her weapon. Minutes later, the first of the aliens entered the ship. Alex held his breath. But before they could reach the control room, the queen struck. Her weapon was unlike anything Alex had seen. Blades of energy that cut through metal and armor like paper. The aliens fell one by one, but more kept coming. Alex triggered the turrets. The ship's doors slammed shut, trapping some of the aliens inside. Sparks flew as lasers met alien energy shields. It was chaos. Alex realized something. Alone, he could never have done this. And yet, working with the ORC queen, even without understanding her language, they were a force neither could have expected. One alien broke through the final barrier, rushing at Alex. He froze. In an instant, the queen swept forward, catching the creature midair and throwing it through the wall. Alex stumbled back, heart pounding. I owe you my life, he whispered. The queen's gaze softened slightly. There was no need for words. Mutual respect had formed in the heat of battle. But Alex sensed it wasn't complete trust yet. She still watched him closely, her eyes gleaming. Outside, the remaining aliens retreated, disappearing into the darkness. The immediate danger was gone, but the threat was far from over. Alex looked at the queen. Why are they after you? He asked. The queen said nothing. Instead, she tapped a symbol on her device. A holographic map appeared, showing distant planets and fleets moving across the galaxy. One point glowed red, far larger than the others. Alex understood without needing words. The real enemy was coming. Suddenly, the ship's communications crackled again. A distorted voice warned, You cannot stop them. She is not alone. They will destroy everything. Alex's hand shook. She is not alone. The queen placed her massive hand on his shoulder. It was a gesture of reassurance and warning. He felt the strength in her grip, the promise of protection, and the silent command to follow her. He nodded, understanding the unspoken message. They were in this together now. Hours passed. The queen patrolled the ship silently, scanning for threats, while Alex prepared the defenses. In that time, he noticed something strange. She was not just a fighter. She observed him, learning, calculating. She respected intelligence, strategy, and courage. Something inside him began to change. The fear that had frozen him before now mixed with awe and curiosity. Finally, Alex sat down exhausted. "We survived," he said quietly. The queen's golden eyes softened again, almost imperceptibly. She knelt slightly, lowering her massive head to meet his gaze. In that moment, Alex felt it. A fragile, uneasy alliance had formed. But somewhere deep in the shadows, beyond the ship and the lights, Alex knew the warning had been right. The queen was not alone. And whatever force was coming, it would test them both and the human race in ways they could not imagine. The night had passed, but the war was only beginning. The ship had fallen silent after the battle, but the tension lingered like smoke in the air. Alex walked through the corridors, his mind racing. The aliens had retreated, but their presence was a warning. Whoever they were, they would not give up. And the ORC queen, she held secrets he did not yet understand. She moved beside him, silent as a shadow. Her golden eyes scanned every corner, her massive hands resting on her weapon. Alex could feel her power, her confidence, and yet there was something fragile about her too. He wanted to ask her questions, to understand her, but words seemed meaningless against the weight of her presence. Finally, he broke the silence. The queen didn't answer immediately. Instead, she placed her massive hand on his shoulder again, guiding him to a console. On it, a small glowing device hummed. When she touched it, images and sounds filled the room. Voices, battles, explosions, and commands in her ancient language. Alex could not understand the words, but the feeling was clear. There was desperation, anger, and fear. Suddenly, Alex realized something. The ORC queen wasn't just a fighter. She was a leader, a ruler, and her people depended on her. Yet she had come to him. Why? He asked the question aloud. Why are you here? Why did you come to me? The queen's eyes softened. Slowly, she spoke, still in her language, but Alex felt the meaning. You are human, small but clever. You survive when others fail. I need your mind, your strategy, your courage. Alex swallowed hard. It was the first time she had spoken something he could feel clearly. He had never imagined that humans could be considered useful by such a powerful being. The pride swelled in his chest. HFY, he thought, we may be small, but we can make a difference. Before he could respond, the ship shuddered. Alarm screamed again. A warning flashed across the console. Enemy fleet approaching. Coordinates locked. Alex and the queen ran to the observation window. Far above the planet, massive alien ships moved like predators in the darkness. Hundreds of them, sleek and black, cutting through space with deadly precision. Alex's heart sank. How could they fight such numbers? The queen's expression hardened. She tapped her device, and holographic projections of her armies appeared. Thousands of ORC soldiers, but scattered and disorganized, most already lost. Alex realized the truth. Her kingdom had been almost destroyed before she even left. She was alone, almost. Alex clenched his fists. We can help, he said firmly. We can fight them together. We have the ship, the technology, we just need a plan. The queen looked at him, her eyes glowing. There was respect now, but also a flicker of something deeper. Trust. Fragile, cautious, but growing. She nodded once, sharply. Then, she moved toward the ship's armory, preparing for the battle to come. Hours passed as they studied the maps, rerouted weapons systems, and calculated strategies. Alex taught the queen how to use the ship's technology in ways her people had never imagined. She shared her knowledge of alien tactics and the strengths of her warriors. Together, they created something neither could have done alone, a human-orc alliance, powerful in mind and strength. As the stars shifted outside, Alex felt a strange connection forming. He had faced danger, terror, and death, yet here he was, standing beside a being stronger and larger than any human, planning a fight that could save a world. It was impossible, and yet it felt right. Finally, the Queen stepped back. She placed her hand on the console, sending a pulse through the ship. The enemy fleet paused, scanning. Alex looked at her, realizing the truth. She had powers beyond imagination, but even she needed him. And deep inside, Alex knew one terrifying fact. The fleet coming for her was only the beginning. Secrets of the ORC Queen's past, her enemies, and the battles yet to come would test him, and humanity, beyond anything he had ever imagined. The night grew darker, the stars colder, and the ship seemed smaller against the weight of the galaxy. Alex looked at the ORC Queen and whispered, almost to himself, "I don't know if we can survive this, but I'm not letting you fight alone." The Queen's golden eyes met his, unblinking. And for the first time, Alex felt that maybe, just maybe, they could win. The alien fleet hung over the planet like a black storm, silent and deadly. Hundreds of ships glinted in the faint starlight, their engines humming a low, ominous note. Alex and the ORC Queen stood side by side on the observation deck, eyes locked on the approaching armada. This was it, the moment when strategy, courage, and quick thinking would decide the fate of her world. Alex ran his fingers over the ship's control panels, tapping and swiping. He could feel the weight of responsibility pressing on his shoulders. "We can't fight them all head-on," he said. "We need traps, diversions, anything that can give us an advantage." The Queen's golden eyes narrowed. She studied him, then tilted her head, almost as if asking, "Can your small human mind really plan this?" Alex felt a spark of defiance. He squared his shoulders. "Watch me." He pointed to the ship's external defense systems. "We can use these turrets to lure them into the gravity wells. Once they enter, they'll get stuck, or at least slow down. Then we can pick them off one by one." The Queen's massive hand hovered over the console. She activated her device, and holographic projections of the alien fleet appeared. She began marking targets, sharing knowledge of their formations, their weaknesses, and the patterns of attack. Alex adapted her insights, creating a plan that combined ORC intuition with human technology. Hours passed as they prepared. Every turret, shield, and drone was calibrated. Every escape route mapped. Alex felt his confidence grow with each adjustment. For the first time, he understood why the Queen had chosen him. Humans were clever, resourceful, and unpredictable. Against overwhelming odds, ingenuity could become the deadliest weapon. Finally, the moment arrived. The alien fleet advanced, entering the range of the planet's atmosphere. The first wave of ships fired energy blasts, lighting the sky like lightning storms. Alex's hands moved quickly, activating the turrets and directing drones to intercept. The aliens' formation faltered as predicted, some ships trapped in the gravity wells. The Queen leapt into action. Her massive frame moved faster than Alex expected. She tore through enemy drones with ease, energy blades slicing through metal with deadly precision. Alex watched, awed, realizing that strength alone would never have won this battle. But combined with strategy, they were unstoppable. One alien ship broke free and hurtled toward the planet's capital city. Alex's heart raced. He had only seconds to act. He rerouted power from the main engines to the external turrets, creating a massive energy pulse. The blast hit the ship, shattering it into pieces before it could reach the city. The Queen roared in approval, her golden eyes locking on Alex. For the first time, there was not only respect, but admiration. She had relied on him, and he had delivered. But the victory was short-lived. More ships were coming, faster this time, with formations more complex than before. The Queen gestured toward Alex, signaling that he should take the lead again. Together, they worked like a single unit. He calculated angles, energy flow, and timing. She executed the maneuvers with deadly skill. Alex realized something profound. Humans might be small, fragile, and limited in strength, but the mind was the ultimate weapon. He could predict, adapt, and improvise in ways the aliens could not. And with the Queen by his side, combining raw power with his strategy, they became a force that even 1,000 alien ships could not easily overcome. Minutes stretched into hours. The battle raged across the skies, the sounds of lasers, explosions, and roars filling every corridor of the ship. Yet despite the chaos, Alex felt clarity. He was in control, guiding the fight, and watching the Queen respond with precision. Together, they were more than allies. They were partners in survival. Finally, the last wave of ships faltered. Alex triggered the final trap, sending the remaining enemies spinning into the planet's magnetic field, where they crashed harmlessly. Silence fell over the battlefield. The fleet was defeated, at least for now. The Queen stood tall, her chest heaving, eyes glowing in the dim light. She turned to Alex and gave the smallest nod, a gesture of trust, respect, and acknowledgement of his brilliance. For the first time, Alex felt he was not just a human observer in a war of titans. He was a strategist, a protector, a savior in his own right. But the victory came with a warning. The Queen's device beeped, alerting them to a distant signal. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but it sent a shiver down Alex's spine. Someone, or something, was watching. The war was not over. Far away, another enemy waited, stronger and smarter than the fleet they had just defeated. Alex looked at the ORC Queen. "We did it," he said softly. She only nodded, her eyes distant, focused on the stars beyond. Alex realized she was already thinking ahead, planning for the next threat. And deep inside, he knew they would face it together. Strategy, courage, and strength combined. For the first time in his life, Alex understood the true power of ingenuity and why humans could never be underestimated. The battle had been won, but the war had just begun. The stars above the planet were silent witnesses to the coming storm. Far beyond the atmosphere, a massive enemy fleet moved with terrifying precision. Their ships were larger, faster, and deadlier than anything Alex and the ORC Queen had faced before. This was not just an attack. It was a declaration, surrender or die. Alex stood on the observation deck, his hands gripping the console. Sweat dripped down his forehead, but his mind was sharp. Every move, every calculation mattered now. He glanced at the ORC Queen beside him. Her golden eyes glimmered in the dim light, filled with determination and fire. There was no fear in her, only the will to fight, to protect her people, and a trust in him. "We can't let them reach the planet," Alex said, his voice steady. "If they do, all of this will be lost." The Queen's hand rested on his shoulder briefly, a silent affirmation. Then she turned, moving to her weapon station with fluid grace, ready for the battle to come. The first wave of enemy ships arrived without warning, diving from hyperspace like falling meteors. Energy beams cut across the void, striking the planet's orbiting defenses. Explosions lit up space like violent fireworks. Alex's mind raced. He activated the ship's advanced targeting systems, rerouting power to the turrets. The Queen moved like a force of nature, leaping from console to console, slicing through enemy drones with her energy blades. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the ship shuddered under the assault. Alex felt the familiar rush of fear and excitement. For the first time, he realized the truth. Survival depended not just on strength, but on creativity and courage. "Focus on their patterns," he shouted over the roar of the battle. "Predict their moves." The Queen paused, listening, then nodded. She adjusted her attacks, moving in sync with Alex's commands. Together, they created chaos for the enemy, exploiting weaknesses no one else could see. Ships collided, their formations broke apart, and one by one, enemy drones were destroyed. But just as hope flickered, a massive shadow appeared. The flagship of the enemy fleet, larger than a city, emerged from hyperspace. Its energy shield glowed ominously, and its weapon systems hummed like a living beast. Alex's heart sank. Nothing he had done so far could stop this. The Queen growled, a sound so powerful it reverberated through the ship. She looked at Alex. "We fight together," she said, not in words, but in tone, sharp and commanding. Alex nodded. "Then let's make them regret coming." They executed a daring plan. Alex manipulated the ship's engines, creating false signals that drew the flagship into a trap. The Queen used her device to emit a powerful energy pulse, destabilizing its shields. Beams of concentrated fire shot from the turrets, striking precise weak points. The flagship shuddered under the combined assault, its massive hull cracking. The battle raged on. Explosions rocked the ship. Alex's hands moved with precision, his mind calculating trajectories, energy flow, and timing. The Queen's blades carved through the enemy like lightning. Despite the odds, they were unstoppable. Suddenly, the flagship unleashed a final, devastating attack. A beam of energy tore through space toward the planet, threatening to destroy everything. Alex's mind raced. He spotted a weakness in the ship's hull, a narrow corridor leading directly into the core. "Queen," he shouted, "follow my lead." With incredible speed, the Queen leapt onto the ship's hull, energy blades blazing. Alex maneuvered the ship closer, dodging fire and debris. Together, they struck the core, sending a chain reaction that tore the flagship apart. The energy beam dissipated harmlessly into space. Silence fell. The remaining enemy ships scattered, retreating into the void. The planet was safe, for now. Alex sank to the floor, exhausted but alive. The Queen stood tall, chest heaving, eyes glowing with triumph. She looked down at him, and for the first time, smiled. "You have done well," she said, in her language, but Alex understood. "You are clever, human. Your mind is as strong as any blade." Alex laughed softly, disbelief and relief washing over him. "We did it together." The Queen's gaze turned toward the stars. "This victory is only temporary. Others will come. Stronger. Smarter." Alex nodded. "Then we'll be ready. We know now what humans can do, and what we can do together." For the first time, Alex felt a surge of pride. Not for himself alone, but for the species he represented. Humans were small, fragile, and underestimated. But ingenuity, courage, and the ability to adapt made them a force that even the galaxy could not ignore. The Queen's massive hand rested briefly on his shoulder again, a silent promise of alliance. Alex looked out at the stars, the remnants of the enemy fleet fading into darkness. The battle was won, the war far from over, but together they were unstoppable. And somewhere deep inside, Alex knew this was just the beginning. Humanity, clever and resilient, had a place among the stars. And with allies like the ORC Queen, no force in the galaxy could ever dismiss them again.